Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we're stepping back in time to the Great Depression, a period when folks faced hardships we can hardly imagine. But even in the face of adversity, there was beauty in the way communities came together, and nowhere was that more evident than in their gardens. Imagine your backyard transformed into a lifeline. Families relied on their gardens not just for fresh food, but for sustenance, trading with neighbors and holding on to hope. It was a time when knowing how to grow your own food wasn't just a hobby, it was a necessity. The government even stepped in with what they called victory gardens, offering guidance and support to encourage folks to plant, grow and share. It's a testament to the enduring spirit of that generation and the power of a simple garden to nourish both body and soul. Now, let's talk about salsify. You might not find this one in your grocery store too often, but back in the day it was a garden staple. Picture a long, thin root, almost like a skinny parsnip. Don't let its humble looks fool you. Salsify is surprisingly versatile. It's got this unique flavor, almost like artichoke hearts, that adds a touch of elegance to even the simplest dishes. Folks would boil it, roast it, even fry it up like you would with potatoes. And here's a fun fact. Because of its oyster-like taste, it was sometimes called the oyster plant and used in soups and stews as a more affordable alternative. But the best part, salsify is a breeze to grow. It's hardy, doesn't mind a little shade, and stores well, making it a reliable source of food throughout the lean months. Just imagine the stories those salsify roots could tell. Next up, we have parsnips. Now, these root vegetables might not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think of garden staples, but trust me on this one, y'all. During the Great Depression, parsnips were a godsend. They're packed with nutrients, naturally sweet, and have this incredible ability to last all winter long when stored properly. Imagine pulling a crate of these beauties out of the root cellar in the dead of winter. Talk about a taste of sunshine. Our grandparents knew how to make the most of every harvest, and parsnips were no exception. They'd roast them, mash them, add them to soups and stews, anything to add a touch of sweetness and sustenance to their meals. And let's not forget about their gorgeous, delicate foliage. It adds a touch of charm to any garden. Now let's talk about a true garden hero, the onion. I don't know about y'all, but I can hardly imagine cooking without them. And during the Great Depression, onions were more than just a flavor enhancer. They were essential. These humble bulbs were a source of much-needed flavor and nutrition during those tough times. Onions were planted in abundance, their pungent aroma filling the air as they grew strong and sturdy. They could last for months when stored properly, providing a constant source of flavor for soups, stews. But onions were more than just a culinary staple. They were also valued for their medicinal properties. Our grandparents knew that onions could help fight off colds and infections, making them even more precious during times when access to healthcare was limited. Chapter 4, Dandelions, free food from the ground up. Okay, y'all, this next one might surprise you. Dandelions, yes, those sunny yellow flowers that pop up in our yards every spring. During the Great Depression, dandelions weren't just weeds, they were a free and abundant source of nutrition. Think about it. When every penny counted, why waste a single edible green? Our grandparents knew how to turn what some folks considered a nuisance into a valuable resource. They'd toss the tender young leaves into salads for a bit of bitterness, saute them with garlic and olive oil for a simple side dish, or even brew them into a tea believed to have medicinal properties. And let's not forget about those cheerful yellow blooms. They were used to make dandelion wine, a sweet and surprisingly potent beverage that brought a little cheer to hard times. Chapter 5, Jerusalem artichoke sunchoke power. Now here's a vegetable you might not see every day, Jerusalem artichokes. Despite their name, they're not actually artichokes at all. They're the root of a sunflower, but don't let that fool you. These knobby little tubers were a lifesaver during the Great Depression. They're incredibly hardy, capable of thriving in even the poorest of soils, and talk about prolific. They multiply underground, ensuring a plentiful harvest. Jerusalem artichokes have a slightly sweet, nutty flavor that's both unique and satisfying. Folks would roast them, boil them, add them to soups and stews. They were a versatile addition to any meal. And here's a fun fact. Jerusalem artichokes are a good source of prebiotics, which are beneficial for gut health. Chapter 6, Kentucky Wonderpole. Beans reaching new heights. You'll know I love a good bean, and Kentucky Wonderpole beans were a favorite during the Great Depression. These climbing beans are true overachievers in the garden, reaching for the sky and producing an abundance of tender, flavorful pods. Just imagine these beauties growing up trellises and fences, their green vines creating a living tapestry in backyard gardens. And the best part, they're incredibly prolific. A single planting could keep a family well stocked in beans all summer long, with plenty left over to dry for the winter months. Our grandparents would string them up on the porch to dry, creating a beautiful and practical decoration. Dried beans were a lifesaver during the winter, adding much-needed protein and fiber to soups, stews, and cornbread. Let's talk about a true American icon, corn. During the Great Depression, corn wasn't just a crop, it was a symbol of resilience and resourcefulness. Fields of golden corn stretched as far as the eye could see, a testament to the hard work and determination of the American farmer. Corn was more than just a food source, it was a way of life. Families would gather on porches, shucking corn and sharing stories, their laughter a testament to the enduring spirit of community. Fresh corn on the cob, boiled to perfection and slathered in butter, was a simple yet satisfying meal. But corn's versatility didn't stop there. It could be dried and ground into cornmeal, the foundation for countless dishes that warmed hearts and bellies during those lean times. Cornbread, corn fritters, corn chowder, the possibilities were endless. Chapter 8, Swiss chard, the gift that keeps on giving. Now, let's talk about a leafy green that's as beautiful as it is nutritious, Swiss chard. This powerhouse of a vegetable was a welcome sight in Depression-era gardens. Its vibrant red, yellow, and white stalks added a splash of color to otherwise dreary days. A reminder that beauty could still be found even in the toughest of times. Swiss chard was a true gift that kept on giving. Unlike other greens that bolted in the summer heat, Swiss chard just kept on growing, providing a continuous harvest of nutritious leaves throughout the season. And talk about versatile. The tender leaves could be eaten raw in salads, sautéed with garlic and olive oil, or added to soups and stews for a boost of flavor and nutrition. The sturdy stalks, often overlooked, could be chopped and cooked like celery, adding a delightful crunch to dishes. Chapter 9. Tomatoes, bursting with flavor and hope. Can you imagine a summer without the juicy sweetness of a homegrown tomato? During the Great Depression, tomatoes were more than just a garden staple. They were a symbol of hope, their vibrant red color, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, brighter days were ahead. Tomato plants, heavy with plump, juicy fruit, were a common sight in backyard gardens across the country. The air was filled with the sweet smell of tomato vines as families gathered on porches, slicing and dicing tomatoes for salads, sandwiches, and sauces. But the bounty of summer didn't end with the first frost. Tomatoes were carefully canned or dried, preserving their vibrant flavor and nutrition for the long winter months ahead. Jars of canned tomatoes, gleaming like rubies on pantry shelves, were a testament to the resourcefulness and ingenuity of a generation determined to make the most of what they had. Chapter 10. Turnips, humble but mighty. And last but not least, we have the humble turnip. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Turnips? Really? But y'all, don't underestimate these root vegetables. During the Great Depression, turnips were a lifesaver. They're incredibly hardy, capable of withstanding even the harshest of growing conditions. And talk about versatile, the entire turnip plant, from its leafy greens to its sweet and starchy roots, could be eaten. Turnips were roasted, mashed, added to soups and stews. They were the ultimate comfort food during those tough times. And here's a little secret: turnip greens, often discarded today, are actually incredibly nutritious, packed with vitamins and minerals. Our grandparents knew how to use every part of the plant, wasting nothing and appreciating the simple bounty that the earth provided. Are a legacy of resilience. Isn't it amazing how our grandparents not only survived but thrived during such challenging times? Their gardens weren't just a source of food, they were a testament to their resilience, ingenuity, and unwavering spirit. These 10 vegetables are just a glimpse into the past, a reminder of the simple yet profound ways our ancestors nourished their families and communities. They understood the importance of self-sufficiency, the value of hard work, and the deep satisfaction that comes from growing your own food. So the next time you're in your garden, take a moment to appreciate the legacy of those who came before you. Remember their stories, honor their sacrifices, and keep their spirit of resilience alive, one seed at a time.